The 15th century stood at a turning point in history, a bridge between the late Middle Ages, the Renaissance, and the beginning of the modern world. It was an age of exploration, artistic revival, and technological innovation. But one development would transform human communication more profoundly than almost any other: the printing press. Its story, however, did not begin in Europe. The oldest known dated printed book is the Diamond Sutra, produced in China in 868 during the Tang Dynasty. It was made using woodblock printing, in which an entire page was carved in reverse into wood, covered with ink, and transferred onto paper. Similar techniques were also used in Korea and Japan. In the 11th century, the Chinese artisan Bi Sheng developed movable type, individual characters made from baked clay. These characters would be arranged into a page, separated after printing, and reused. Around 1297, Wang Zhen improved wooden movable type and organized thousands of characters on revolving tables. Korea later produced the Jikji in 1377, the oldest surviving book printed with metal movable type. Printing had already begun transforming East Asian society, centuries before Gutenberg, whose contributions you'll hear about later. However, because Chinese writing required thousands of individual characters, woodblock printing was often more practical than movable type. In 15th century Europe, books were still mostly copied by hand. The process was slow, expensive, and vulnerable to error. Written knowledge was concentrated among monasteries, universities, governments, and wealthy households, while much of the population received information orally. Around 1440, a German goldsmith from Mainz named Johannes Gutenberg began developing a printing system suited to European languages. Gutenberg did not invent printing or movable type. Instead, he combined existing technologies with innovations that made the mass production of books commercially practical in Europe. His system used a hand mold to produce large numbers of uniform metal letters. The relatively small Latin alphabet made these letters easier to arrange and reuse than writing systems containing thousands of characters. Gutenberg also created an oil-based ink that adhered effectively to metal and adapted a screw press, similar to those used for pressing grapes and olives, to apply even pressure onto paper. His most famous achievement was the Gutenberg Bible. Completed during the 1450s, approximately 180 copies are believed to have been produced. Its carefully printed pages demonstrated that mass-produced books could rival the appearance and quality of handwritten manuscripts. Gutenberg's achievement did not bring him financial security. He had borrowed money from the financier Johann Fust, who later sued him and gained control of much of his printing equipment. Fust and Peter Schoeffer continued printing, producing an acclaimed Psalter featuring multiple colors and different styles of type. In 1465, the Archbishop of Mainz granted Gutenberg a pension that included grain, wine, and clothing. Gutenberg died in Mainz in 1468. The information revolution he helped accelerate was already spreading across Europe. By 1500, printing presses had reached approximately 270 European cities and produced more than 20 million books. Printed material became cheaper and more widely available. Religious teachings, scientific discoveries, political arguments, literature, and eventually newspapers could now cross borders with unprecedented speed. This new freedom of information also inspired efforts to control it. In 1559, Pope Paul IV established the Index Librorum Prohibitorum, a list of works Catholics were forbidden to read. Churches and governments introduced licensing systems, banned books, and attempted to suppress printers and authors. But printed material was difficult to contain. forbidden texts could be reproduced secretly and carried across borders. The technology also crossed the Atlantic. In 1539, Italian printer Juan Pablos, born Giovanni Paoli, arrived in Mexico City with his wife, Geronima Gutierrez. Working under an agreement with the Seville-based printer, Juan Kronberger, he helped establish the first printing press in the Americas. The workshop began operating around 1540. Over the following centuries, wooden presses gave way to iron machines, steam power, rotary presses, offset printing, and eventually digital technology. Printing expanded beyond books and newspapers to packaging, labels, textiles, advertising, and almost every area of economic life. The printing press was not the creation of one person or one civilization. It developed over centuries, from Chinese wood blocks and movable clay type to Korean metal type and Gutenberg's mechanized European system. Together, these innovations created the first age of mass communication. They made knowledge easier to preserve, reproduce, and challenge. Yet they also created a paradox that remains with us today. Humanity has access to more information than ever before, but information alone does not guarantee understanding or truth. That is for you to find on your own. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos from Uncle Wonders. Take it easy.